Good morning and welcome to Choir Leader in a Kayak. This is episode number 15 and I've had a real struggle actually to get here this morning because the water's pretty fast and the wind is quite strong, so I hope it doesn't catch and cut out the sound too much. So if it feels like I'm shouting at you, I apologise. I'm not shouting, it's quite blustery out here today, so gosh, my heart feels like it's really racing having got to this point. But the good news is the journey back will be very easy because I'll be going with the flow. A good way to live life, I think. So today's episode is all about light, finding the light. And when we think of the word light, it sort of comes up in all sorts of conversations, doesn't it? So if you bake a cake, we really want the cake to feel light. And some people say she lit up when he walked into the room. We kind of think about light as being a very, very positive experience, and to feel light and love. Anyway, light is the subject of today's episode. It's the end of January. It is in fact the last day of January, and for many January is probably one of the bleakest months of the year. A lot of people are pretty broke, having spent a lot of money on loved ones at Christmas time, and it's quite a dark and cold month, especially if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. And of course it is recommended that we all expose ourselves to at least 20 to 30 minutes of daylight every day. If it can be sunshine, that's even better. And if we can expose ourselves to 10,000 lux particles, even better. Sadly, for many people in the world, that isn't possible. Some people are affected by seasonal adjustment disorder, and it makes them feel sad. And I would say that I'm possibly one of those people. In the past, I have invested in a sad light, and it did do remarkable things. So if you're thinking that it's all a nonsense, then take it from one who has tried. It really, really helped me about 10 years ago in my life after my mum had died, and I'd spent a lot of the winter months by her bedside in a hospice. And every subsequent winter after that time felt like a remarkably dark time because it was dark for nature and it was dark in my mind, because of course I was grieving. So sad lights are really good things. These days I don't need to use my sad light in the same way. I'd love coming out here to the water because any little bit of light that there is, of course, is reflected and it feels even brighter. I think I feel the same when I go to the outdoor pool, which I also do a lot of. So water and I are very good friends. Perhaps I'm a secret mermaid. I'm a bit like Ariel, a singing mermaid, or mermaid, or perhaps I'm Ursula the sea witch. I think I'm more Ursula. Anyway, this week I went to see an amazing concert. I went to see the Swingle Singers and the King's Singers in a joint concert at King's Place. And I've never been to a concert completely on my own before. And it was a wonderful experience. Normally I want to go with a friend or another musician because I want to talk about the music. It's really important to share it with somebody. But I didn't really want to share that experience with anybody. I just shared my soul, and I shared this amazing experience with an audience. And it really kind of made my heart soar and made my soul sing. And I think it was probably one of the most beautiful experiences I have ever had. And I literally floated home. I didn't want to speak to anyone. Part of that reason was because I had been moved to tears by the performance, not because it was sad, but because it was so incredibly beautiful. And I was moved to tears, and my larynx, it felt quite constricted. I felt like I had that big lump in my throat. So I wouldn't have wanted to talk to anybody. But the lightness that I felt in my body, I felt like I had almost transcended this earth. And had I had to leave this earth on that particular night, I think I would have left a very, very happy person. But we're not being morbid, and this is not about feeling like that at all. It was really just that moment where a light has been switched on inside your head or inside your soul that allows and carries you forward. And I think that's what this time of year is all about. Finding the light, finding the thing that lifts your spirits, and finding the light perhaps helps you find some clarity around some decisions that are difficult to take. When it comes to music, we have to have a broad overview in choir. When we first read through something, there's no point me getting into the nitty-gritty of certain bars and certain language, because people want to sing. They want to sing through a song. It's a bit like having a searchlight, isn't it? When we're first looking for something, we put the beam on wide so that we can see the big picture. And as we start to realise that we need to have a little look in more detail, perhaps we narrow that flashlight down and we search a little bit more finely, and we go through things with a fine-tooth comb. So light and finding the light is really very important. The kids' choir this week was an absolute joy to lead, as were all the choirs. But the children this week, I could see their little eyes lighting up, and I could see their imaginations just bursting into life as we looked at 2 new verses of a new song that I'm teaching them. And together we learnt a lot of complex words and a brand new rhythm, and we learnt it all by using our imaginations. I wasn't the teacher in that instance. I was a collaborator, and it was amazing to watch them come up with the ideas. And do you know what? Because we did it together, they will remember those words, and they will remember exactly what happens next in the song. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and remember, in the wise words of Dumbledore, and I do hope I get this right because I'm hoping there's lots of Harry Potter fans watching, happiness can always be found if one only remembers... I need to start again, sorry. Happiness can be found in the darkest of places if one only remembers to turn on the light. So I hope your week is full of light and laughter and love. Tomorrow it is February and it is going to get colder. We're not through it yet, but it is getting lighter. I look forward to seeing you next week and send you lots and lots of love. Mwah.